Hey, welcome to your Taurus horoscopes for the week of Thanksgiving. If you're in the United States, if you're not in the United States, it's probably not Thanksgiving for you, unless I'm totally wrong. You can correct me. We do have some moon action. We're actually ending the week with the moon as it travels into Taurus on Friday afternoon and stays in through Saturday, and we'll kick off next week as well, just kind of skirting in right after the holiday, which is convenient. And we do have things calming down a little bit. They're not completely and totally there yet, but things are definitely getting a little bit easier in terms of the challenges that have been taking place the past few weeks. As a matter of fact, are really coming down to bare minimum challenges, so to speak. So we do continue to still have an opposition between Uranus and Mars and the Sun. The Sun is moving out of Scorpio at this time. Mars is moving out of Scorpio at this time as well. They're both on the cusp. So by next week, this opposition should be done. We should be done with it, or really, really close to it. Maybe one more week, but we're going to say hopefully not. But I really haven't bounced quite that far ahead yet. As we get into the weekend, though, the moon moves into that challenge as well. And of course, it's going to make it more of an emotional one than it already was. With Uranus focused on the mind and how the mind works, the moon moving in to turn those thoughts into an emotional direction, which is never pleasant. And oftentimes, um, definitely makes things a little bit difficult there. The Sun and Mars are positioned in or really focused on your long-term goals. So this is kind of one of those situations where it's really important to be aware of your thought process. Most of us are not aware of our thought process. We're not aware that our brain just kind of goes in a direction and we do nothing about it. We just simply let it be, and it gets worse, and it gets scary. And if your long-term plans have to do with something that's really important to you that you've always wanted to do, your brain is going to talk you out of it. It's going to come up with scary reasons why you can't do it. It's going to come up with financial reasons why you can't do it. It's going to come up with, it'll go so far as to tell you you're not good enough to have this anyways. If you don't manage your mind, it will always be like that. And that's why this challenge is actually really important for you guys. By bringing it to light, it's giving you the opportunity to identify that this is happening and to change it in some way. Now, we're not going to change the automatic way that your brain goes. Most of us are wired to go into a negative place mentally, usually. But we do have, for the most part, some situations are more difficult than others. We do have, for the most part, some means of control over that. We can identify that we're in this negative place that is making us feel depressed and making us feel like we're powerless to have to do anything to solve this problem. And instead, we can stop that right in its tracks and change it to be moved into another direction. And yes, it's hard. Everybody that I've ever talked to, everybody that I've ever said this was necessary, every single one of them, including myself, when I first heard this, said, but this is hard. I don't think I can do this. Well, yes, you can. Because believe it or not, I can. And it took me a while to get the hang of it, but I realized that there comes a point where your brain has beaten you up enough and you have to say, okay, enough's enough. We're going to look at this in a more positive way because it helps me to be a more productive individual. And you want to be productive in terms of your long-term goals. Yes, there's always those instances where it looks like there's just no hope. I think everybody in the world has hit the depths of there's no hope so many times this year in particular. And you just get to a point where it's like, what's the point of going on? But you know what the point of going on is. You got to solve this problem, just like you solved every other problem. That's why we keep getting these problems, so that we can keep solving them. It's a ridiculous way to live, but that's part of our evolution. And in all honesty, those people that somehow are able to avoid that most of their lives aren't evolving at all. So really it comes down to, what do you want for you? And what are you willing to do to get that? And that grand sextile that Uranus is in with Pluto and Neptune is definitely helpful with that as well. Specifically on Wednesday, when the moon is in conjunction with Neptune, and it adds an emotional layer in a very positive way to this. Pluto is a constant reminder that your power lies in your ability to let things go, your ability to make it so that these things are not getting in the way of your success. And if you were to ask any successful person, they would say the same thing. They didn't sit around letting their brain dictate to them whether they could or couldn't do something. They let those things that hurt them in the past go and focus their energy on what they wanted from the future. And that is really the definition of success there. So there's a lot of energy helping you with that as well. Bottom line here is that you guys have been through a lot of growth challenges in the past couple of years specifically. You guys have gone through a lot of growth challenges. And we could say that they've completely broken you, or we could say that you just keep on getting better and better and better. And in those low moments where it feels like there's no way out of this, that's what you have to harness, is the fact that you've always gotten out of this. You've always somehow gotten through, and you're always going to come out maybe tired on the other side, but a little bit better than when you went into the challenge. And that's why you guys totally rock it. Now, as the moon comes into your sign, the moon is in a trine with Mercury. Mercury is very much focused on career, so that's a lot of energy going towards your career goals as well. It may be actually, with all of the energy going towards your long-term goals and your career goals, that you also might want to evaluate just how much time is left for you. Because when you get yourself overly tired, you take on too many things, that also has a tendency to have an effect on your mental health state as well. And you want to make sure that your mental health state is where you want it to be, and not wherever it's just going to willy-nilly go without you having control over it. So that's what I have for you guys this week. It's good news. It's good news coming for sure. But much sooner rather than later at this point. Yeah, that's all I have. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation to my link in the description, my coffee link. I would greatly appreciate that. I do love all the coffees. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys have a wonderful holiday. I hope it's everything that you guys were hoping it would be, and try not to have as stressful a holiday as you may have had in the past. In the end, that overwhelming amount of food that we have to cook really isn't as big sometimes as we make it out to be. So keep that in mind and have fun with it, because you deserve to have fun. I'll see you guys next week. You guys make it a great one.